Okay, we are live. Hey, Blake, you got this turned on? The camera? Is Blake, you got the camera turned on? Okay, I'm just going live now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you turned on earlier. Okay, it's cool.
I thought you were starting.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
Have
We
some
just started.
extras in there.
All right, we started now. Is my audio on?
You're
Working?
good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going live here. We're going live here on about 5 different platforms. Derek, it takes a few minutes before StreamYard just goes into YouTube, and I don't know how the connection works. Maybe you smart guys are watching us that know how this works. So let me make sure that we're live here in the Facebook group as well. Yes, we are. Let's see. I know the social media gods have let us in. All right, perfect. All right. So we are live here with Derek Smith. Today we're going to talk about Derek's sales process. He's one of our advanced NEPQ Inner Circle clients. Derek was already doing well. He was making 160, 170 grand a year in commissions before he got into our advanced Inner Circle program. Now he's on pace to not quite doubling that, but getting up to about 260 to 300,000 a year. So he's almost doubled it, and he's still in the program. So he's still learning how to sell more. So he's almost doubled his sales, doubled his income, but now he's still learning. So we're going to break down his sales process today. Now we are going live on about 5 different platforms. We're going live in our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. So hello, everybody watching us there. We're going live. We've got up to 21,000 people in that group now. We've got Facebook business page. We've got about 63,000 followers on that. LinkedIn, I don't know how many we get on there, 9 or 10,000 watching, and then YouTube, and then my personal Facebook. Hello, friends and family watching us. Derek, how are you, my man?
Great, man. Great.
Okay, so Derek, real quick, because everybody wants to know, what do you actually sell? I think you're in the placement services, right?
Yeah, so we work with executives, directors, VPs, kind of your C-suite professionals. We help people that are looking to make career changes. We help them find and land their next position, typically within 90 days, help them advance their pay 20,
Okay,
30.
so there might be like a chief marketing officer or a chief sales officer or a VP of sales or whatever, and they've got this job, but maybe there's something they don't like about it, and they're looking for other opportunities, and you help place them. So it's like a placement service, right? So you're able to place them into another position.
Correct. We help them advance their careers. That's exactly
now,
right.
Do you cold call? Do you get leads? How do you get your prospects in there?
Yeah, they're inbound. So we do marketing, and we have a lot of different platforms, and so they're inbound. They book on my calendar, and then I reach out to them. They schedule the appointments with us.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to break down your sales process and little things, little golden nuggets. So I've asked Derek to give away some of his golden nuggets to everybody watching here. So it will help you go out and sell more of your products and services today. Now, if you're brand new to our Facebook group or wherever you're watching us from, like I said, we're going live on 5 different platforms at the same time. I love technology, love StreamYard. I'm the founder and chairman of 7th Level. We're a sales training company, global company now at this point, that helps train salespeople exactly like you watching me and Derek right here. So we train sales professionals like you. We train sales executives like you, sales management like you, coaches, consultants, business owners, solopreneurs. And we transform the way you and your team sell by learning specific skilled questions and techniques that actually work with human behavior rather than work against it. And Derek's going to cover a little bit of those techniques today for you guys, give you some nuggets, right? Now, those are known as neuro-emotional persuasion questions, NEPQ. So when I say NEPQ, that's what I mean, okay? Teach you the right tonality. Derek, how important is tonality that you're learning?
It's make or break. I mean, you can have the script all day, but if you don't have the right tonality, it means literally nothing.
It means you get crushed, right? You can have the greatest questions of all time, which we teach you some of the greatest questions there are, NEPQ, but we also teach you the delivery of those questions and the tonality in our advanced Inner Circle program. So when we're able to do that, what that does is it eliminates sales pressure from the conversation, okay? It reduces sales resistance that you're now triggering when you guys are talking with your prospects, that's triggering them to go into fight or flight mode where they're trying to get rid of you, okay? So we're going to show you the difference in that. Now, I want everybody to do this. If you're on the live right now, go to your phone real quick. And in the chat, I want you to post #live. So I'm not going to have Derek drop some of his knowledge we've taught him to you unless you go into the chat and post #live. So I'm going to have you post #live in the chat. If you're on the replay, post #replay. So if you're on live, post #live. If you're on the replay, post #replay. Now go to the phone. I want you to smash the heart button and smash the like button. I better see a couple hundred smashed hearts and smashed likes if you want me to have Derek reveal some of these training secrets that we've taught him in our advanced inner circle program. I better see hundreds. Hey, we've got Katie on here. We've got Lindsay. We've got Daniel. We got Lucas. We've got Abradurhaman. You got a cool name. I just don't know how to pronounce it. My name's boring. I always tell my mom you gave me a boring name. Lucas. So many of you are already on here right now. About a total of 40 of you on the different platforms. Where's everybody at today? Everybody's on vacation. You should have like 90 on this call. All right. So Derek. Now, hey guys, we always get hit up in the DMs. If you want to learn these type of skills that Derek and thousands of our clients are learning, who are in the same industry you guys are in watching us, who are doubling, tripling, quadrupling your numbers and your commissions, all because they have the right skills. If you want to learn those skills to start making 10 grand a month in commissions, or 15 grand a month in commissions, or 20 or 25 grand a month in commissions, like Derek is now too, okay? Or even if you want to go higher, and Derek's still going higher. We were just on here before. He's not satisfied with 25 grand a month in commissions. His next step is to go to 30, 35, 40, okay? Mm-hmm. So if you guys want to learn those skills that Derek is learning and making that type of money why don't you just go ahead and message me now? Message me on Facebook, okay? DM me on my personal Facebook, or DM me on LinkedIn or the business page, and I'll message you back some different training options later, here a little bit later. Or if you can't find how to message me in the comments section, post hashtag NEPQ, post hashtag NEPQ, and either myself or somebody on our team will message you back. Okay, Derek, nobody cares about me. Okay, they just care about you. All right. I always ask this first question because we interview a new one or two new clients every single week in this group. Were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced questioning skills and advanced tonality, or was that something you acquired and learned?
Quite the opposite, man. Bull in a china shop, I guess, would be a more appropriate description prior to that.
Okay, so tell us, how long have you actually been in sales? Let's start your journey. Then we're going
I've been in for about 15 years, right? Worked for myself for quite a while and been in a variety of different kind of sales. I've done about every sales training under the sun.
Tell us what sales training you've done. Like, you don't have to give specific names, but what type of sales training, what did you do in the past?
Ones everybody's heard of, your Zig Ziglar, your Tom Hopkins, your, Anthony Robbins stuff, your what's that? The Sandler.
Okay, Sandler, big company, been around since 1969.
Just like your good old Brian Tracy and
sure, yeah. Brian's a good guy. I know him actually personally, really good guy. And you got some good results, right? You started getting up to kind of lower six figures, right? Now you're doing good. You're making 160, 170 grand a year in commissions. My question is, and probably what everybody's wanting to know is, you're making 160, 170 grand a year consistently. What in the hell caused you to reach out and be like, hey, I think I can learn more. I think I can make more. I need more advanced training than what I've gotten you so far. What was going through your mind that caused you to be like, hey, I need to learn more so I can make more?
Yeah, well, being on conversations with people that had the problems that we solve, we have a solution that we know solves them. They have the budget for it, and they're not moving forward. There's a problem there because I have a solution to your problem. You have the means to solve that problem, yet you're not moving forward. So something is wrong.
What's the missing link there?
Something's wrong, right? And it's got to be, I got to take ownership that I can only control me. So
and most salespeople don't think that, though. They blame the prospect. Oh, the prospect has a fear. They just have too much fear. The prospect said they have the money, but they really don't. And we just blame the prospects rather than looking at us, because you said that exactly right. If everybody's on here, write down on a piece of paper 2 problems that your prospects, that your product or service solves. Obviously Derek has a product or service, a service that solves people's problems. So write down 2 problems that your product or service you sell solves for your prospects. Now, also in your mind or on here, raise your hand if your solution solves those 2 problems. So just like Derek says, all of you are saying, yes, my prospects have problems, or at least emotional needs, right? Like if you sell a Lambo, it doesn't really solve a problem, but it solves an emotional need, right? Mm-hmm. And your solution solves those. So like Derek's saying, if your prospects have problems, which they do, your solution solves those. Well, what's the missing link? The missing link is not your leads. It's not that you don't listen to enough hype or personal development videos, or it's not that you don't meditate every day or you don't journal enough. None of that has anything to do when the prospect answers the phone and says hello, and you don't know what to say or ask, that triggers them to want to engage. And you get smacked in the nose pretty quickly. That motivation stuff goes out the window very, very quickly if you don't have the right skills, okay? So the missing link is what we're saying and or not asking that's triggering the prospect to run the other way and not buy from us. So when we learn the right skills, we learn the right questions, we learn the right tonality, we learn how to get the prospect to want to engage and want to open up, what can happen, Derek?
Well, you start having really collaborative conversations about solving people's problems together, and people no longer feel sold, and they want their problem solved, so they engage with you.
Yeah. Now, how did you start with this? I know you're in our Advanced Inner Circle program now, which is me basically training you guys in the group and all kind of stuff. You have access to all the scripts. That's where we take NEPQ and we tie it into what you guys sell, make it more industry specific. Okay. Did you start in 2.0, 3.0? Where did you start?
No, I started at Inner Circle.
Oh, you just jumped right into Inner Circle, baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I've been around long enough to recognize, I think, value. And
we usually don't let most people do that. We usually say you have to start in 2.0 or 3.0 before you progress into Inner Circle.
I've been following for a year and kind of integrating some of these things anyway. So it's already kind of there,
Okay.
kind of,
Okay. So tell us this: when you first got into the training, okay, after like a month, because it takes 2 or 3 weeks to start going through the training stuff. So let's say your second month. What were some of the differences you noticed, even just knowing a little bit of NEPQ at that point? What were some of the differences you were seeing from how your prospects were reacting to you compared to how you used to sell?
Yeah. So one of the immediate things was there was less objection handling.
Okay. Why do you think that is? Why were you getting far less objections?
Well, because I think that that a lot of that was answered through the process, and a lot of the trust that you build through that process makes it to where you get less of those. Plus, some of the things we talk about with the checking for agreement and just kind of taking a pulse. Yeah. Before you get to that point where it's a little more just kind of the logical next step. Now,
let's talk about trust, how we build trust. Okay. Before you learned NEPQ, how were you taught to build trust in the beginning?
Even before I got to NEPQ, but some of it was from NEPQ, I already was not a big fan of building rapport. I never liked that really anyway.
Yeah. Why is that? Because most sales trainers, like if I look at all these books on my shelf, these sales books, there's only a few that actually say that you shouldn't build rapport in that. Most of them are like, oh, you got to build rapport. Ask them how their day's going. Who won the game last night?
Why
does that not work?
I loathe building rapport. I mean, I love building actual rapport. I don't like rapport building, right? Big difference, right? Yeah. So I think that, so I'm sorry, what was the question again? Why do you think?
Well, yeah. Why does that not work? Getting on a
sales because it's so
how are you doing today?
It's so disingenuous. Like everybody knows you don't care about where they're from or how's it going in your neck of the woods. Nobody cares at all. You know why they're on the phone. They know why you're on the Zoom or whatever. And it's just so damn disingenuous, and people are tired of fake and phony.
Yeah, it triggers. Well, it's inauthentic because like you said, everybody knows that you are genuinely not interested in how their damn day is going.
Who cares?
It's when salespeople ask you guys, like everybody watching, when somebody's trying to sell to you and they say, "How you doing today?" Do you really believe they're genuinely interested in how your day is going? No. So all that does is it triggers resentment. It triggers sales resistance because they know that you're not genuinely interested and they know you're trying to build rapport. And that's what every single salesperson actually does. So if you guys are doing that, you got to get rid of that. It does not work. Now you can still make some sales here and there, but you're not going to make the same type of percentages Derek is making and our clients are making who know how to build real rapport. Derek, tell us how do you really build rapport?
Yeah. So you really build rapport by when you first connect with people. So I think it builds a lot more rapport and trust with people when you initially get into learning about them and what they have going on and why they're there. I think they actually feel a little bit of relief that they don't have to play that game a little bit. And you don't sound like every other salesperson they've ever spoke to. And like, all right, I think I'm on the phone with a pro here. Yeah. So you don't get that pushback.
Yeah, your questions that you guys ask, what we call connecting questions, which we teach in all of our virtual training platforms, take the focus off you and puts it on the prospect. Okay. Now, since you get inbound leads, Derek, what's an example of like a connecting question, or how do you typically start out your calls with the sales structure we have you on?
Yeah. So as soon as we get on, once mic check.
You do on Zoom or are you on the phone?
We did it on phone, but so we started working with you.
I told you guys to switch to Zoom. Did you notice a difference?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's another.
People can see you. They trust you more.
Well, and if they're messing with their phone, or you can see when they have a question or they're confused, you can actually
read their body language.
100%. It's huge.
Yeah.
But so
how do you start the Zoom call?
So
people are going to ask like, well, if I don't say how are you doing today, what should I say instead?
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy, it looks like you booked on my calendar, to discuss possibly getting some outside assistance with maybe landing your next position. Is that right?
Yeah. So you're getting right into the point. Now, Jason's asking, what if they really don't know why you're calling? Well, Derek calls inbound leads, Jason. So they're booked on his calendar. They show up on the Zoom link. Okay.
Yeah,
now, if it's a cold call, it's a little bit different. All right. But Derek doesn't do cold calling, Jason. So there's a little bit of a difference. Obviously, in cold calling or even calling outbound leads, somebody that's requested information but doesn't know who's calling back, compared to getting an inbound lead who books on his calendar. And that's what Derek company does. All right. So when you started learning how to do that, okay, so it looks like you booked on the calendar about possibly getting some outside help and looking at getting, possibly placed in a new career or company, right? How do they typically respond to that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you're right into it. And then what's your next connecting question you do from there?
Yeah. So really the first part of our call here, Jeremy, is just for us to learn about, what you have going on, where you're at in your career, where you're looking to go, maybe how you've tried to solve this, see maybe where that gap is between where you want to go, and see if what we do here, might be of value, because there's some people, there's just not much we can do for them. So,
and how do they respond to that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, totally understand, for sure.
Yeah, because it helps. The reason why we do that. Now, the first part of this call, and that's for an inbound lead. There's differences for outbound leads. I want to make sure everybody watching that does outbound leads, a little bit of a difference there, okay? And we teach all that, the differences in our virtual training courses. But all right, so the first part of this call is really more for us to find out more about kind of what you're doing now in your career compared to what type of career you're wanting, pay, all that kind of stuff, just to see kind of what that gap looks like, just to make sure we can actually help. Because there's some people where there's just not much we can do for them. You know what I mean by that? And they'll be like, oh yeah, because people want what they feel like they might not be able to have. So we're almost seeding that in their mind that we might not even be able to help them. So that typically draws them in and gets them to pull you in a little bit and pay attention. Okay. All right. Connecting questions. So there's a few more connecting questions we've taught you. We're not going to give all those out to everybody here. I don't give away your trade secrets we taught you. Situation questions. Before you learned NEPQ, how did you try to find out what their current situation was before?
I would really wanted to find out why they're looking for a job in the first place.
Okay. Yeah.
What do they have?
So you're finding out what they do for a living now, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And when you're finding out why they're even looking in the first place, what does that typically do to them? Like, how do they respond to that now compared to before?
Well, they're pretty open. They're pretty open to share with their current situation, especially since I'm not going too hard on getting them to get into their emotional reasons for being on the call yet. They're really
you can't do that too early. Like in the beginning, if you try to go so emotional in the beginning without any trust there, it's too early. It's more later in the call. So you picked up on that. That's good. Keep going.
And even before that, Jeremy, is when I can't emphasize enough how important that opening is and that connecting question, because it really, like, I know you talk about this all the time, but somebody watching might see it different. But the status you're on right there, they know you're not just fluffy. You're not also like, yeah, you're here, right?
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and then so they're like, oh, and you can even almost see like a relief almost that they're like, all right, like let's have a real conversation.
This person's a professional, so they start to view you differently. That's called an NEPQ status frame, what Derek is talking about. So any sales conversation you're in, whether it's an inbound lead like Derek's talking about, whether maybe it's an outbound lead by the phone call or a cold call, or an in-person meeting in a home, or if you're meeting with the board of directors in a corporate office, you have to come into that conversation with at least an equal status in that prospect's mind. Now, you can only do that by the questions you ask that show in their mind that you're an expert in what they're about to begin with you about, what they're about to talk with. Now, by the middle of that conversation, your status has to start rising above their status, where they start to view even more as an expert because of your questioning and listening skills. And by the end of that conversation or sales process, your status has to be up here in order for them to view you as the expert, the trusted authority who's going to solve their problems and get them the results they want. Now, most salespeople, when they come in, even the first couple lines out of their mouth lowers their status. Hey, how you doing today? Do you have to, I'm just calling you back. Do you have 5 minutes to talk about how we can solve the solution XYZ now? You've automatically lowered your status in their mind, where they just view you as just another salesperson trying to sell them something. So your status is automatically lowered, and now you're competing to try to get the status back throughout the damn call when you don't have to do that at all. That's an excellent point that you brought that up. Status frames are very important.
Yeah, and what that does is, what I don't get rarely anymore is, hey, what do you guys do?
What do you guys do? Or how much is this going to cost?
How much is this going to cost me? I don't get that hardly at all anymore. And if I do, it's a much more milder version that's really, really easy to deal with. But
yeah, let's talk about that. What if you get a milder version of like, hey, I don't have a lot of time. Like, how much is this going to cost me?
Good question, Jeremy. I mean, I guess I could kind of go over some of that, but I guess before I did that, I'd have to maybe know some things about what you have going on, because we don't just have like one thing. So it really kind of depend on if anything might even work for you. So I guess I'd have to know a few things first. Would that help you to go through that?
Like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then you just get right into this.
Yeah, because all you're doing is like, oh yeah, we'll go through all those details for sure. We don't have like just one thing though. It all depends on like where somebody's in their, like where they're at in their career, like what their salary is now, what they're making compared to what type of salary or like, benefit packages they're looking for, like what type of industry, those things. Once we understand all those details, then we can show you the options that's going to match up to that to make sure we're getting you in the right company. Does that make sense?
That's right.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, it's easy. Mm-hmm. Okay, now that's all because he in the beginning, even though they asked that, he has at least the same status frame as them, so they respect him. They don't view you as a salesperson trying to stuff your solution down their throat. That's how they view everybody else. They view you as more of the expert. Okay, and that's what you want. Do people buy from experts or pushy salespeople? Okay, I think we know that, right? Yeah. Needy, stressed salespeople trying to make a deal. All right, let's skip ahead a little bit. Problem awareness questions. How do you help them find out what the real problems are?
Well, depending on what their situation is, will depend on kind of the problem awareness question. But then just find out, do you like what you're currently doing to solve this?
Yeah. And what do they typically say?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's just flat out like, no, it's why I'm talking to you. Like, and then other times it's, well, yeah, it's going pretty good. I'm having some interviews. Things are going well. And but I get a variety of answers there.
Okay, I got you. And then even if they do that, you take them through and basically, what's something you do if they're like, oh yeah, I really like what I'm doing. What do you typically do?
What do you like about it, Jeremy?
Yeah, and they tell you, okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like things are going pretty good for you, with what you have going on. I guess, what would you like to see different, or what would you like to improve in that if you could? Yeah.
So it's almost like, and you're probably not I know you're just role playing with me, so your tone out probably sounds different on the phone, but like, okay, so help me understand. I mean, to me, it sounds like things are going fairly well. Say fairly instead of pretty, it's better. Fairly well with what you're already doing. I mean, is there anything you would change about what you're doing or the results you're getting if you could? So like, I know you're probably like, you probably do it differently. You're just telling me that. But
sure, a little quicker.
I would say fairly instead of pretty good.
Okay.
A little bit, it's more neutral. I mean, it's not bad what you said, but see, you're learning something from me right now.
Hey, I told you before we got on here, I just feel like I'm doing like okay with it too, so.
Well, almost doubling your income is good, but I know you make more money than you are now for sure, but you still got a lot of time in the training. Mm-hmm. All right. Consequence questions. We'll skip solution awareness questions. We only got about 5 or 6 more minutes. What's a good consequence question that you now ask? And then why is it so effective in your mind with your prospect?
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of part answer. It's not just the question, but it's like the juxtaposition of when you ask it. What I mean by that is you got them on an emotional high about how great the good is. And then you kind of snatch it away, but like, okay, what if you don't do anything about this though? Stay in the same situation, same problems, same income for another 6 months, a year, or longer. Nothing changes.
What do they say?
You get a variety of answers there. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah.
Or no, that's absolutely not going to happen with me. This has to change. And
yeah, that's good. That's what you want. So, I mean, what happens if you don't do anything about this though? Like if you just stay in the same job, same income, the next 6, 12, 18 months from now. See that skepticism, the facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
Really important everybody picks that up. It's not just the question, it's how you're delivering that question, which we teach all that in our virtual training programs. All right. Okay, let's move ahead. We don't have time to go through the presentation. Okay, I'm sure you've restructured that a little bit. How have you restructured that differently compared to used to do it?
This is probably my biggest area to improve on that. I still feel like I've gotten better, but I still feel like I probably get a little bit too wordy. That's
okay.
just my
take some of the fluff out of it. Okay, good.
Yeah, but just really focusing on, hey, here's what we're going to do. Here's what this, this is what it looks like, and here's what it means for you. And
it's that 3-step formula, right? So one of the biggest problems, so you remember how you were saying that you're having X, Y, and Z problem, which is causing you to, what does it cause them?
It's caused them to feel undervalued at work, and it's
caused you to feel undervalued at work. So one of the biggest problems that people have when they come to us is exactly the same thing you just said. People are working tons of hours of their job and they're feeling undervalued and they don't make enough money compared to what they do. So the way we solve that for our clients is, then you go over the specific parts of your service that solves that, how you get in place, blah, blah, blah. And what that means to you is, and then you go over the advantages and benefits of what that means for them personally.
That's right.
So when you do that emotionally, it connects the dots from their problem that they said to you in the discovery part to their objectives, which they said in your solution awareness questions, to you getting them the result and solving the gap, solving the problems. Derek, thanks for being on. I've got to run to the airport. I usually like these interviews to go 35, 40 minutes, but man, my office managers reminded me I'm going to miss my flight. Any last words of advice you'd like to give anybody on here that's maybe new to sales, or maybe that's a vet and is like, hey, I want to increase my skills too. I want to make more money.
Well, geez, I've been in a lot of programs. This is by far the best one I've ever been in. It's the most least anxiety, like on a phone call with somebody, and especially when objection handling is not objection handling. It's two people having a conversation to solve a problem. So it totally shifts the dynamic. Just one thing too is Jeremy, that really helped a lot is really focusing on the beginning of the presentation. Is there a sale to be made? I think that's one of the biggest shifts that helped, because you're not even thinking about selling them or anything and it helps you keep that kind of skeptical kind of, why are we even having this conversation?
Yeah, why am I even on here? Everything's perfect. Why am I even here?
Exactly right. So, and it changes the dynamic, but man, just invest in the program, get the support you need, and you will get out what you put in. So show up. If you engage in it, it's just such a no-brainer. Like what you'll get back.
There's the reason why we have almost 7,000 testimonials in the first 2 years for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's
and I have only seen one from you, man. What is going on? You need to be posting more of your wins here. Almost doubled your income. I see one testimonial. I'm going to slap you around. I'm going to send Marco after you.
All good, man.
All right, brother. We appreciate you. Thanks for being on here. Now, if you guys on here want to learn, I mean, we just gave you a little nibble, a few hors d'oeuvres today by interviewing Derek. You want to learn these type of skills so you can start making 10 grand a month in commissions with what you sell, or if you want to make 15 grand a month in commissions, or 20 grand, or 25 grand a month, or 30 or 40 grand a month plus in commissions with what you sell, or if you're already doing that, you want to make more than that, in the comments section, post hashtag NEPQ, or just message me directly on Facebook, or message me directly on LinkedIn, and either myself or Marco Cortese, our Chief Revenue Officer, or Matt Ryder, our CEO, will message you with different training options if you want to learn advanced skills so you can sell more than you are now. And if you guys don't want to learn those, well, there's nothing we can do for you, right? Okay, so make sure you message us. Now, we will not have a live tomorrow. I am traveling. I'm flying. I'm going to get in late tonight, so I'm staying in a hotel. Then tomorrow morning, I'm driving down to my lake house, which is like a 3-hour trip from the airport. It's like out in the boonies. And I got to get my office set up there. I'm going to go to my lake house for about 3.5 weeks. So I got an office there. I got to get set up. So we won't have a live tomorrow. Usually on Thursdays, we do a live Q&A. I won't be available for that. So starting next week, we'll be back live in the group. Now, if you're not in our Facebook group yet, like if you're on my personal Facebook, or if you're on YouTube channel, or if you're on LinkedIn and you want to join our free Facebook group, go to I'm going to have somebody post it in here. Go to www.salesrevolution. I'll even post it here. I'm that cool. salesrevolution.pro. Go to salesrevolution.pro. I'll have somebody post it in here on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. Go to salesrevolution.pro. You join for free. Right when you join, check your message, your Facebook Messenger, because we will message you over a free training called the NEPQ 101 mini course. And it's a list of different questions that you can use for different sales situations you're in. It's broken down by our CEO, Matt Ryder, who used to be a student here 3 years ago when I first started this thing by myself, who's now the CEO of the company, my business partner. So he breaks it down very well for you, and you can use those questions for you to sell more. Abhar Hassan, I'm looking to purchase the course. Abhar, if that's your name, we don't just have one course. We have over 23 different training programs. It all depends on what industry you're in, what type of commissions you're making now compared to what you're wanting to make. Once we know those details, then we match you to the best program that's going to get you the results the quickest. So Abhar, if that's you, you'll need to join our Facebook group first, salesrevolution.pro, and just tag me or message me in there. And somebody will get you more details, and you can book a call with one of our team members to go over the different training options if you want. Derek, enjoy Florida. I've heard it's nice and hot this time of year.
Indeed it is.
Cal, let you get back to work.
Appreciate you, Jeremy. Thanks, guys.
All right. Be good, bro.